to the News Minute. I am Dhanya Rajendran. Joining me is the chief of the Janasena party, Pawan, who has been in news a lot for his fact-finding committee, which in fact first said that there should be a no-confidence motion which should be moved in Parliament, and that's exactly what we are seeing happening in the houses. So we are in conversation with Mr. Pawan Kalyan himself. You saw the ruckus in the Parliament today.
Yeah.
The MPs came to the well of the House. Adjournment, the no confidence motion was not taken up. How do you see what happened in the Parliament today?
It is a performance for me. If someone who is really willing to do it, they'll do it differently. See, you have to understand parallelly the impossibility of Telangana it's very, very difficult to achieve Telangana statehood with such mighty forces who were opposing it, both from center and the state. But they could achieve it with a great will, with a very strong will. But if you look at the Andhra leadership, they don't have the strong will. They're just maneuvering it for they're taking they're leveraging strength out of it for their own political mileage. But truly, they're not doing the way it has to be done. That's what I feel. It is going to be just mere show, nothing else. In one line I can say, TDP is doing very convenient politics, very convenient. That's what irks people, and
but
that's
do you think TDP was pushed to do this also because the YSRCP had itself spoken about a no confidence motion?
No, it all started because the problem is, I disagree with Honorable Finance Minister Arun Jaitley's statement. The reason he said money, special category status will not be given because of sentiment. It is not about sentiment. It is the basic right. It's a right it's a promise which was given to us. It's not something that we've been denied. When Andhra Pradesh has been bifurcated, the unified Andhra Pradesh, there's no capital as such because we lost all the infrastructure which been combined, developed together in the combined state. A lot of investment came from that side, a lot of human resources and efforts. And suddenly one political decision and the bill passed in the parliament, people are denied capital. And suddenly there is all the infrastructure, the jobs, educational institutions, all the administrative buildings and everything been denied for them. So suddenly there been a lot of shortage of funds, and suddenly Telangana became the surplus state, Andhra became with a revenue deficit state with all the minus points. And the major problem over Andhra Pradesh is Andhra Pradesh has got 7 backward districts, and it is almost like if you go to Rayalaseema, especially Anantapur, it's the largest district of India. It has got a sub-Saharan atmosphere like Bundelkhand. So then if you go to Uttarandhra, that means North Coastal Andhra, they're very backward districts. And there's a lot of migration, there's a lot of infant mortality is there. And these are the problems which there is no right employment opportunity. So once we lose it, the people thought the damage happened was the lack of opportunity, everything. I said by special category status will compensate so many things, whatever they had lost. And
but the government is saying that if the status is not given, that's fine. The money is still being given.
No. Maybe they must have released a few thousands of crores, like 4,000 to 5,000 of crores or few thousands of crores. Maybe they had promised a lot. They announced a lot. But it hasn't been reached to the state. Even because BJP conveniently ignored, and TDP, they take a stand which suits them, which is convenient for them that point of time. When people were, if they'll try the level best to influence people, there's no need of special care. When it does not work with people, suddenly they'll say, no. For a long time we've been saying there is no need for, we've been asking for special category, we're not going to compromise on special category status. Because today they've been pushed to do it. What I did was, the reason why I initiated no confidence motion in Jan fact-finding committee was they created a lot of conflicting and contradictory statements. One time they say, okay, we don't want special category status, this is enough. But the financial assistance what central government has done, which they're saying that given all the money, it is like as you know, that is a devolution method, whatever the state normally to be given, like any other regular state, that's what they're doing. Only they have changed the name. This is what told by one of the, some few financial experts from Delhi. We actually did a thorough research on it. Says there's nothing extra which has been given to you. It is only an eyewash, and it is a change of name. That's it, nothing else. And only they must have given they had given very few thousands of crores, which is no way it is going to compensate with the benefits normally which would be associated with special category status, which they hadn't given. And somehow TDP, whatever their understanding in between, they wanted to agree, something happened between BJP and TDP, which is, those facts are unknown to people and not being revealed to people. And somehow they disagreed and they walked out today.
So I want to just ask, you said that something must have happened between the TDP and the BJP. So are you saying that the TDP is not actually breaking away for the special status, but there is something else and they're just pretending?
Yeah, that's how I look at it. If it is very clear, right from day one you should have taken the same stand. Where is the need for you to change the stand? When a novice like me, when compared to our 4-decade-old experienced Chief Minister Sri Chandrababu Naidu ji, I'm just like a few years old, and I'm like, though I've been here, but definitely the kind of experience what he has is different.
But my question is, how prudent is for a Chief Minister? You are a politician. You can now ask the Chief Minister to walk out. You can easily say you should have walked out 2 years before. But is it prudent for a sitting Chief Minister, especially someone in Andhra Pradesh, to actually have strained relationship with the centre?
No.
Mr. Naidu.
No. I can go back right from M.G. Ramachandran sir. What they keep saying is there is no need to fight with centre. Where is the need for you to compromise? If Tamil Nadu could get all the benefits what they are supposed to get, if their MPs could fight and that's the stand they took, the problem with the Andhra Pradesh MPs is because they have vested interests. They're contractors. There are a lot of different self-interests are there. So normally, because of their vested interests, they ignore the state interests. That's the problem. So, for example, where is the need for them to take a Polavaram project by the state? Where is the need for you? When it is supposed to be constructed by the national government, the central government of India, they should have built it and they should have given it to people. That's it. But state government took the initiative because previously Congress government did the same thing. They said, we're going to cancel the private contractor and we're going to give it to the government of India. You build it and give it to us. That's what they said. And conveniently again they have forgotten. So multiple issues, what they had stood for and what they had fought for earlier, and they're doing the same pattern. They're creating the same pattern and same mistakes again and again. And that's the reason why we could say what everybody is saying is it's not prudent to, even that's the reason why I kept quiet. I'm raising it, I'm like in a constantly raise. I said this is what's happening. No, you don't understand because being in the Chief Minister position, it's a very different ball game to understand. I said we understand, okay, but for how long? And eventually, what we've been raising our concern, what have been the way where the top of our voice we're shouting out, somehow he realized after 4 years. That's the sad part of it.
You say it's too little, too late.
It's too late and too little.
So I was watching a press conference of yours in which someone asked you, who would you place the blame on? Is it, and you said it's the Congress, the BJP and the TDP.
No, they should have been more responsible, more accountable. And these people, knowingly what the damage had been done because of the earlier decisions, and they could have undo it. And at least they should not, they should prepare people, this is not going to happen. They shouldn't have made false promises. When they're so clear, special category status is not applied only for there is certain criteria, in which they didn't. And personally, BJP and TDP and all the political parties of Andhra Pradesh to be blamed for this, including TDP, because they take the major share, and the BJP, Bharatiya Janata Party, they have to take the major share, because knowingly you did it, both the parties, knowingly.
Do you believe this is going to cost Mr. Naidu a lot in 2019?
Definitely, people lost trust in him. 5 crores of people lost trust in him. He is not going to form the government. That's the sad part, because I truly wanted him to be the Chief Minister for even in 2019, because I personally felt his leadership was needed then. But the decisions he was been making and the kind of approach he was taking it, and people had lost respect. I kept quiet for a long time, and it became my credibility, a question of my credibility. I said, we are all able to see his failures. How come you are not able to? How come we are able to see his corruption and issues? And what we've been at a grassroots level, we are facing a lot of, how come you're not able to see it? And he said, you said, if they do mistakes, you're going to question them. How come you're not questioning them? So I took it for 3 years. I tried to convey to them, communicate to them. And today I personally feel sad.
So you're a patient politician, you waited for 3 years.
Because I don't want to be disruptive. Because the political landscape is such, there is a lot of opportunism, there are a lot of all the possible, like there nothing is fresh. So in this, I was trying to make some meaningful politics, and I took a long time. I conveyed and communicated. Somehow they could not take it forward, and eventually I had to come out.
But when they pulled out of the government, they still did not pull out of the coalition for 1 or 2 days, I guess. That announcement came 2 days later.
Why don't you do it at once? Where is that, where is the need for you to do it one time at a bit?
If you don't, he left a space to again align?
Again for a negotiation, that's what the problem is. That's where people lose belief.
Do you think he's going to negotiate again?
See, if you look at, whether I might agree with Sri K. Chandrasekhar Rao on issues or not, that's a different story. But I have to respect him for the kind of stand he took for Telangana statehood. He's very decisive. If you say something, okay, this is, I wanted state. In the process, people like me also got hurt. Because of the kind of remarks and statements and everything, we felt like an outsiders. But irrespective of all that, if you look at from a Telangana perspective, that leader was very decisive. And how come Andhra leaders are not decisive? How come always you put one foot here and one foot there? It does not work that way. Either you be very decisive, I like it or I don't like it, because it's not your business. You are working for the interests of people. You have to be extremely decisive. Okay, take time. We do agree. Okay, being the chief minister, I do understand that, okay, you have to be more prudent. I do understand, but for how long? When everyone in the state could see what's happening, what central is doing, what government of India is doing, how come you kept quiet for a long time? Or how come we are able to realize it? Okay, said, these are the reasons, even now, as you're saying, as you're quoting, one foot here and one foot there.
But and do you think that's because he will do negotiations in the future in 2020?
That's what they create.
He may go back with the BJP?
We don't know. That's what they do. A man who could change stand for multiple times on special category status, 5 years to 15 years. It is not 5 years special category status we want 15 years. From there, the same leader says, okay, I don't want special category status, whatever center gives, I'm happy about it. They threw something and they took it, they said this is the best we could get. And after some time, depending on because if people believe in him, immediately he'll say yes, because I was the right decision. People are just watching him, watching TDP. Because of your political decisions of the successive generation political class, I said current generation is suffering. So what they would do? They will rebel. That's the reason why they are very attentive for every minute detail. And they're going to rebel against them.
In 2014, you were someone who did endorse Narendra Modi, but looking at how his government has treated Andhra Pradesh, how has your perception changed the last 4 years?
No, because I conveyed to Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, because this is going to be it will snowball into a bigger issue. In 2014, post my first speech, like when I announced my party, within less than a week, I had an opportunity to meet him. Then I conveyed to him in Gandhinagar, but then he was a prime ministerial candidate. I conveyed to him, I told him the history, and he said he agreed. He knows also how the Bombay state got separated and everything, Gujarat and he says, I told him, this is going to create, because bifurcation, don't see it as a financial issue, just don't see it as a mere finance, don't see it as a mere employment issue, see it as much larger. The problem is the sub-regional differences, the sub-regional fund allocations, the employment ratio, if it is not being honored, it will be seen. If Andhra Pradesh and Telangana could get separated, just because of mere sub-regional differences in allocation, fund allocations and resource management, imagine if the same thing goes for other states also, and if you don't honor this particular commitment, it will create a lot of damage for the integrity of the country. And also the reason my fear is, even that point of time, and my fear was even now, very prominent leaders. Even for example, Mr. Chandrababu Naidu ji also said, are we not a part of the country? Why are we being ignored? And this is what exactly.
By we, you mean?
Why AP is being ignored? Isn't it AP is not a part of integral India? This is what exactly I told Narendra Modi ji in 2014. This is where I keep hearing from the very top level politicians and bureaucrats and judiciary from the southern part of India. Somehow they've been ignored. Somehow the northern, especially when I say that north and south, it is not the clash between people. people are always comfortable with each other. There is no problem there because a lot of Bihari group from the state of Bihar and a lot of people come work in Tamil Nadu, vice versa, they keep going. Issue is not about between the people, issue is about the willful negligence. Entire special category status issue post bifurcation, all the Andhra MPs, more or less everyone who were a integral process of that, they said only one word. They said this North Indian political leadership does not allow South to grow. They don't let our voice be reached and they don't let our demands.
So this is something now which we have heard from Siddaramaiah, we have heard from Chandrababu Naidu himself, he said this in the assembly, we are hearing from MK Stalin. But politicians can be blamed of just using this as a sentiment for
No, that's the dangerous thing. Political leaders will use it. So central government of India should be more responsible, and also the leadership in the media who wants this country as intact state. There is a lot of cultural integration has to happen between the northern states and the southern states. Cultures are yet to be assimilated. Cultures are yet to be, they should be understand each other much more. I'm not talking about the masses, I'm talking about the intellectuals and people who are really understand, who really want this country to be intact as one India, not just saying as in mere words. They have to.
You tweeted one saying, is the South being punished for actually performing well?
Yeah, because that's what when we read one of the articles. See, the problem is, why I keep saying it is, when they wanted to separate the state, slowly they'll inject a very simple thought. We're just exploring it. So the devolution method is more because future fund devolution method. The devolution method will be more on population ratio. So eventual population ratio is quite lesser than North India. Your output is more, you generate more income, but the income generated here will be distributed elsewhere on the ratio of people. And now they say, okay, actually we are contemplating or we are thinking about it, but slowly one day it will become reality, and that day is going to be a very dangerous day if you don't understand it. That's the reason I said that cannot be punished. South India should not be punished because of its prosperity.
So are you saying the central government should take into account that there is a large central
There is a growing disparity. Let us not take it as sentiment. Sentiment will be defined in different terms. It's not sentiment. It's a fact. You have to understand. Today, because I'm also, because I'm in the core of issues, if sub-regional, two regions who became as one state, two regions, a sub-regional issue could separate the state just because on the concept of language. You never respected our language. You never allocated the right share, revenue. You never allocated the right ratio of jobs or industrial benefits. And if they could get separated, if they could fight within each other, speaking the same language, having the more or less same traditions, just with the mere dialect difference, if they could get separated, can you imagine the magnitude? If government of India and the intellectuals who wants this country as one intact nation, they have to take very serious. It is a very serious concern for me, being a patriot.
But what is the solution? Do you think it's more bargaining power?
No, it is not about bargaining power. People, the northern intellectuals, northern media should understand more the cultural diversity of southern India. Don't see them as a bunch of MPs. Don't sit in Delhi and try to understand southern India. You cannot understand southern India unless you be there. Only the very few people who understood the entire concept of India, it is Mahatma Gandhi. Why people revere him even now? Because he's the man who understood it. One statement of Lal Bahadur Shastri at the time of Pakistan, where he said, "Please, can you give up rice, give up food for one meal? That will create a lot of stress, it will bring out lessen the load. And that increased output can be sent for soldiers who have been fighting there." And that is my grandmother's generation. For the rest of their lives, what he said was what was overheard in the radio, and they carried that word till their dying time. It means a leader, if has to inspire North Indian, so at that point of there was no such thing as North India. Lal Bahadur Shastri is our man. So how come it is dwindling down? The quality of leadership, wherever they might come from south, they might come from northern parts, anywhere. But do they see India? Do they see Bharat as one? Or they see confined only to their political interests or regional interests? And if a particular chief minister becomes a railway minister, why you should get only railway zone for your state? Why not for South? Why Andhra Pradesh minister goes to parliament? Why has to think of only his place? So these are the things everyone should collectively come together, make it a wholesome approach, and a wholesome development should be there. Thinking country as one piece. And the regional leaders normally, why would they get the interest is, that's what exactly they're doing at the national level. If a Bihar MP or BJP or Uttar Pradesh MP goes, normally their course is, though they are also behaving like regional leaders, though they speak Hindi. Mere speaking Hindi does not count, we cannot take it as they are speaking for entire India. No, they're not speaking for entire India. They are just made properly, they're focusing on their own states, like any other regional leaders. That's the problem.